Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
This is True Crime Cast. I'm Jamie here with John, and we are back.
We're back, man. It feels like it's been 30 years.
It does. It has not been 30 years. It has been a couple weeks of each of us traveling with our families and just taking some time, some things going on in our lives. So it was great to kind of reset and super pumped. We got a great slate of cases coming your way.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed some of the Paradigm episodes that we posted. Those have been a lot of fun, and we're going to start working on a new season soon. So go over. That has its own channel. Go like and subscribe that so that you instantly know when they're available.
And it's going to be a new case. Season 2 of that will be a completely different case. As we follow the Lillywood murders, we'll announce more about the new case as we get closer, but we're really excited about that. And that's part of why we wanted to share it.
You said that we had a review come in, so let's hear that. I need some good news.
Any 5-star review that comes in, we will read it on the air when we get it. This comes from Brooks M.A. It says, the podcast is great. I love listening to you boys, John and Jamie, while I'm mowing my yard or out for a jog. They present cases that are clearly researched and deliver the facts.
Well, thanks, Brooks M.A.
Brooks M.A.
I feel like I may know who that is, and good job for running, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, M.A. Brooks. I can't imagine we're super motivating to run to.
No, I mean, yeah. But at least you're in shape. If there's a crime happening around you, you can get out of the way.
Yeah.
Also want to say thank you to Michelle, who came in over on Patreon and I think did an upgrade to the annual membership. So Michelle, thank you so much. If you haven't checked out Patreon already, go over and check it out. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to a bonus episode each and every month and our regular content early and ad-free. Again, $3 a month. Go check it out.
Well worth it, in my opinion. I know you and I have both subscribed to other channels on Patreon, and it's always been glad I did. So if you're interested, great place to help support the show over there.
I think that there's been some times where Patreon itself will add some fees and all that, but we have never changed the price. It's always been $3. So almost 10 years long and never changed the price. Go check it out.
Yeah. When they raise their fees, we don't raise ours. So they just take money away from us.
Yeah. But we love you and we're going to do it anyway.
Patreon, we can still be friends.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We'll work something out.
John, what a case to come back to, man. This has been on our radar for a long time. It was, I don't know, I made a TikTok the other day that was the Netflix documentary trend, where people were like preparing for my Netflix documentary. And of course I was like a year late to it. So that's what mine was about.
A year, a day, it's all the same when you're late to something on TikTok.
It is. And I'm always late to trends on TikTok. So that documentary coming out soon, but this is the one, I mean, Netflix has been doing documentaries forever, but in a series of hateable characters, this was the first for me that really struck a nerve. This was one that shocked me. And like you said, we've been doing this for almost 10 years. I don't get shocked. I was shocked by this case.
I was shocked and maybe shook. Like when I saw the reveal, I was like, what in the world?
How? Why?
Exactly. Yeah. This was a really well done documentary. And it's because the story is so insane. What are we talking about today, Jamie?
Yeah, this is from the documentary, The High School Catfish. So, unknown number of the High School Catfish. And in case you don't know what catfishing is, basically
you take a hook and
wish you get some chicken livers. Sorry if that's a little too country for y'all, but no, it's pretending to be or believing somebody else is who they say online, even if it's not who they are. And that can be any electronic means of communication. Some people do it to get money. Some people do it because it's fun. And why this person did it, I think, is the great mystery. So let's start off with a couple of our main characters here.
Yeah, man. Get the ball rolling.
Lauryn Licari and Owen McKenny grew up near one another in Beale City, Michigan. When the two were in 8th grade, they started dating. As they entered high school, Lauryn and Owen were known in their small town as the Golden Couple.
What does that even mean? Like,
I
just
think
the good couple? Like they fit peanut butter and jelly, if you will.
I want to find a relationship like that one, as how I imagine people would look at that. In October of 2020, in the middle of it, Owen invited Lauryn to go with him to a Halloween party, also known as a super spreader event, at another classmate's house.
Michigan really keeping things lax over there. I think we could have been arrested in Kentucky for that.
Lauryn didn't want to go to this party, and 2 weeks before the party, Lauryn started getting very personal texts, we'll say, from an unknown number. They said things like, Owen wants to break up with you, and not sure what he told you, but he has come to the Halloween party, and we are both DTF.
I legitimately don't know what that means.
I'm assuming that's down to F word. So saying
that's unfortunate.
He is going to cheat on you with me. And Owen was getting texts as well, hateful texts, somebody claiming to know things about his relationship with Lauryn that they shouldn't know, or things that aren't true. Lauryn started getting insecure about this. I've never had this happen to me in a major way. My kids have on occasion, and it's disturbing to think that somebody out there, you don't know their identity, knows a lot about you, and obviously they're out to harm you in some way, whether that's psychologically or otherwise. But she was insecure about their relationship, and she was suspicious that something was going on with Owen because somebody was claiming to be cheating with him. The two asked around, but nobody claimed to be the one sending the messages or to know anybody that was sending them. So this is like a huge mystery. Who is sending these messages in our high school? Who is moving in and trying to break up the golden couple? Finally, they brushed it off as a prank and decided they were going to stay in their relationship and move on.
And it sounds like the messages stopped for a little bit, but they picked up again in a major way of September of 2021. This time, the vile messages were coming in at around 30 to 40 messages a day. I'll be legit, man. I don't know that I send that many text messages to like all of my contacts a day. So to get 30 or 40 in a day, I guess I'm old, Jamie, but it just seems like a lot.
No, I tried to consider that as well. Like how many would a normal teenager receive in a day? If you're including Snapchat and other things, like I imagine you probably receive more than that, but not from one person, definitely not from one person that refuses to reveal themselves.
And that are vile and just awful. So these contained information that only someone close to the kids would have known. These were nicknames, that kind of thing, like intimate details that somebody close to these kids were the one sending this, but somehow doing it from a phone that was unrecognizable. So this led the parents to get involved, really because of the safety of their children. I can't imagine, Jamie, my kids getting text messages that were vulgar and vile, and what can you do as a parent? You can get involved and you can help them maybe block that number and stuff, but the kids are cruel and they're going to find a way to get those messages to the kids if they really want to.
Yeah, you can find temporary reprieves from the verbal abuse, but it's hard to get it completely nipped in the bud until you can find out who it is.
And these are teenagers. So if they're vile messages, even if they're just completely false, it's going to take a hit on the kids' self-esteem, on their, it's going to affect their quality of life.
Absolutely.
Lauryn's mom, Kendra, and Owen's mom, Jill, turned to school officials and law enforcement to help protect the kids. Kendra and Jill began taking their kids' phones to monitor the messages. Both kids were being messaged, but they were all aimed specifically at Lauryn, and they were intensely vulgar and hateful. Originally, the principal called Lauryn into her office to see if she was sending them to herself in order to get attention. That is, I'm sure that is a logical explanation, but if she is not doing that, that is horribly offensive. Like, you are putting this kid's going through just pure torment, and now she thinks that you feel like she's doing it to get attention.
Like literal victim blaming.
Yes.
Like a very blatant example of that.
Some of the other students also thought Lauryn might have done it to herself because she was generally quiet. She kept to herself. So some believed that she was just trying to get closer to Owen.
Yeah, I certainly, teenagers do weird weird things. I could see this happening, but obviously in this situation, spoiler alert, it wasn't Lauryn, and we'll get into who it was as we go throughout the case. In her life, Lauryn was getting super frustrated by the messages, and those are her words, and I'm sure that's a massive understatement considering what she was going through. But her mom kept telling her, just ignore it. Just ignore it. John, it's so hard for anybody to ignore negative parts of their lives, negative feedback, and as much as teenagers get online these days, it's constant. So ignoring it is not only kind of impossible, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm a full grown man and it would be hard for me to ignore it. So to think about a 16, 17-year-old, like, this is brutal.
She said that her mom was encouraging her to ignore them, but just don't read them. As they come in, just throw it in a folder. Don't even look at them. And maybe if you stop replying, stop engaging, they will leave you alone. Jill explained all this in the documentary, again, called Unknown Number. She said, we were at the school almost every day. I can't tell you the countless times just standing in the principal's office in tears going, can we please enforce a cell phone policy? What does my kid have access to look at this when he should be learning? And I don't know, man, like, various schools have various cell phone policies. I have my own opinions, but I don't know that you're going to get a lot of people to agree on one, even down to each teacher. So she just didn't want Owen looking at this while he was supposed to be learning. And there's an element of telling him to ignore it as well, which, as we discussed, is borderline impossible. As Jill and Kendra continued to push the school to do something, the principal and superintendent started questioning every student. They said, look, these moms are in here every day. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, man.
And I mean, given the harassment that was taking place, this should have been happening anyway, but the moms certainly put the pressure on. They questioned every kid at the school. That got them nowhere. So they started using video surveillance to try to line up the times of who's typing on their phone before these vulgar messages are going out.
That tracks.
It does, except I'm pretty sure every student is on their phone every second. So it's like, it could be one of 700 people who sent it. Point. That didn't work, of course. So then Lauryn and Owen got new phone numbers, which again, sounds like a great idea, but the messenger still found them. Every time they blocked the number, they'd start getting messages from a different unknown number, obviously coming from the same person with the same type of messages. Eventually, the teenager's relationship couldn't handle it anymore. Again, because a lot of this was about their relationship, was about cheating, about rumors they heard about each other. So they ended up breaking up after about 2 years together. The golden couple was done, and this devastated Lauryn, and I'm sure Owen as well. We hear from him less in the coverage of this, but both of these individuals hoped that that would bring an end to the torture they were suffering.
And that's a logical thought, I think, because these were targeted at them specifically. But after they broke up, the messages that Lauryn would receive somehow managed to get worse. They said things like, kill yourself now, and then called her the B word. And then it would say things like, his life would be better if you were dead, and just dead, hashtag bang, bang, hashtag suicide. So quite the opposite really happened. These are now escalated to a point of encouraging her to take her own life. It's awful.
In the world we live in now, I can't imagine putting somebody in a situation where they have to read that. I don't know. I worry about everybody's mental health enough with everything they have to deal with constantly, that putting that idea out there is, I don't know. No matter who you are, is very irresponsible and awful.
And I don't know, man, like to receive harassing texts, there's a point where that becomes illegal, right? Like, especially if they're threats, but like this stuff, this has to be illegal, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I don't know what the charge would be, but I would imagine that if I sent this to your kid, I would go to jail.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
Even Owen's new girlfriend, who lived in another town, would also start receiving texts. So again, this just confirms that this is coming from someone who knows the kids very well. When the school couldn't find the culprit and the physical threats began, that's when parents got law enforcement even more involved. Isabella County Sheriff Mike Main started investigating Lauryn and Owen's classmates and friends. The text messages looked like they were from one of their peers. So he drilled down on the kids' inner circles. They pulled in several persons of interest, including their classmate Chloe Wilson, Owen's friend Sophie Weber, and even Owen's cousin Adriana. Parents were checking their kids' phones, and no one knew who to trust. All the girls questioned denied sending these messages, and when their metadata was searched, there were no connections to any of the text messages that were found stored on their devices. And, police have a way to even find texts that you thought were deleted. So when police search a phone and find nothing, it's because nothing was going on those devices.
It is. And it just makes me wonder, at what level of harassment is enough for them to do more tracing on the back end of it? Yes, I can check your device to see if you're involved, but how do I just find the device?
It seems like there's a way to do that, right? Like there has to be.
Yeah, there absolutely are, but it's expensive. It's a legal issue, I guess, in some ways, of having to get a warrant to look at phone records. So I guess how much of it would get them to take that step? And it's really tough. And that's when they call in the big guns. They call in the FBI cybercrime unit. When we get back from the break, we'll break down what the FBI did when they get involved, and we're going to tell you exactly who was sending those messages. Just 2 weeks ago, while I was on vacation, John, I actually got to visit the FBI headquarters, and they actually have a lot of information about cyber crimes. And I listened to somebody working there telling me that, yes, we can figure this stuff out. Nothing's ever deleted. We can track any communication. It's just a matter of necessity and legality and what it takes for them to get involved. But after some point, they decided to call the FBI, and FBI liaison Bradley Peter linked one of the messages to an app called Pinger. Have you ever heard of Pinger?
I have never in my life heard of Pinger. I don't even remember hearing that when I watched the documentary.
I don't either, but it's, I have so much trouble. We have teenage kids. I have so much trouble keeping up with everything. I don't need something else like Pinger coming into my life. It's very frustrating how many ways there are around accountability and identifying yourself in situations like this. However, Pinger is an app that allows you to send messages over Wi-Fi instead of through a carrier. So that makes it a little more tricky, right? It helps people disguise their real phone number so you don't know exactly where it's coming from. It's not pinging cell phone towers. It's only using local Wi-Fi. So it does hide you a little bit from some of those.
If I'm FBI, I would think that would also mean that I can find an IP address associated with it.
Ding, ding, ding. The FBI had to get a search warrant, but they were able to get the IP addresses released associated with these messages. So you're exactly right, John. You should work for the FBI. You have good ideas.
Thanks, man.
They were able to track down the IP addresses. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's basically when you log on to the internet in any capacity, you register at an IP address, so all of your activity can be tracked back to that. Now, there are VPNs, there are remote servers, there are things that you can do to get around that, but the IP address essentially says this person is at this place accessing the internet at this port. And they found it. They found the IP address, and it went back to Lauryn's house, specifically to the IP address linked to usage by her mother, Kendra Licari.
Holy crap.
This is the shock for me.
Like her freaking mom, the woman who is going to the school and having superintendents, principals, and police involved. Like, she legitimately thought that she could get away with this. but also like it's your freaking daughter and you're telling her these vulgar things and also telling her to hurt herself. Like, what kind of woman is this?
Yeah, I know some parents overstep, and maybe you're going to send some messages to get them to break up with somebody you don't like, but you're
That's
right.
still insane.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like,
not good. But yeah, we've left out like the vulgar messages were just so graphic.
they were sexual in nature. They were threatening or basically telling her to commit suicide. Like, these are the worst things.
And it's the suicide ones that bother me the most. Like, to put out there, tell your daughter, kill yourself now. His life would be better if you were dead. Hashtag bang bang suicide is just so beyond anything I can comprehend that I literally audibly gasped when they revealed it was Kendra. So they arrested her for this. And the Netflix documentary shows body cam footage from the day that she was arrested. It shows them talking to Kendra on her own, where she denied being involved. They spent a lot of time with Lauren's dad, talking to him about what he knew, what he didn't know. The director of the documentary said the body cam footage allows the viewer to watch Kendra realize that she's been caught. She had done this for over a year without being identified. The director said it was a slow realization for Kendra that she had been caught, and I think there was still some idea possibly in the back of her mind that she could get out of it. Eventually, she would confess, and Lauren is then brought into the room, and she was told that her mom was the one sending the messages. Her initial reaction is exactly what it should have been. She didn't believe. She didn't believe that her mom did not send the messages, and she thought that if there had to be some mistake. But then we find out that Kendra said she didn't send the original messages and only started texting to try and find out who the person was. Obviously, we know that's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's complete bull crap. But so during this encounter with the police, Kendra's husband, Sean, comes home and he is told what's happening. He's told the truth. And he also discovers that his wife had time to do the stalking because she had lost both of her jobs and hadn't been working for approximately a year. I guess when you see this in the documentary, there's an undertone of there's already problems. Like I got the impression that she lost her jobs, wasn't really trying to contribute to the family. And then you put this on top of it. And I think that tipped the scales towards like worst case scenario for the marriage. The worst part of the body cam footage is tough. And it's watching Lauren break down in real time. The director described this scene as saying, quote, "You don't see Lauren sort of break down with any real emotion until Sean is home, and you can see the fracture happening in her family." And he said that it was just heartbreaking. And you can see Lauren and understand that she understands her family is never going to be the same again, end quote. Later, Lauren said that even though she was quiet, she felt a shock that turned into sadness, that turned into anger and made her crazy. In the documentary, Lauren asked, "Why would my mom do this?" But like, did she really actually do this? I can't believe it. Honestly, I'm just really confused. She told me to kill myself. It makes me feel a little bit sad. Why is my own mom telling me to do that? Jamie, I remember watching the documentary and I was taken back by the whole thing, of course, but I was a little taken back by, I think Lauren could have been more angry and more sad. And I think she tried to handle this as mature as possible. And to a point that I don't know that I could have handled it as mature as she did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there were those times of anger. Maybe that wasn't on camera, but at the same time, this is your mom who you love and you feel has been supporting you your entire life. Even if you feel like they did it, I feel like there's going to be some, at least up to a point, some inherent grace there of this is my mom and I love her and there had to be a reason she was doing this for my good. She just didn't understand, or she lost her mind literally and couldn't control herself. There has to be something. She loves me so much she wouldn't do this on purpose.
I honestly can't imagine what I would think or do if I knew that my family was doing something like this to me. But honestly, betrayed, and it would take a long time for me to develop a relationship back because I would have to walk away.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. There would be a huge fracture.
She doesn't get that opportunity. I mean, really, because she's a kid. And for me, as a grown adult, it's easy to put that space. But for a while, she probably isn't able to do that.
You're a father. I'm a father. Think about your position here as a husband and dad. And given, you're right, I think things weren't great anyway, but imagine the shock he's going through. Because even though he knew she was, I don't know, not being the best partner, finding this out, I mean, I feel like that is where the anger was probably turned up to 11 with Sean.
Yeah, I would be DUN done, you know?
Kendra was arrested. It took me a minute to process what you said.
That was a redneck thing.
I get it. Kendra was arrested in December 2022. She was charged with 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of communicating with another to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. In March of 2023, she pled guilty to 2 counts of stalking a minor. That following month, she was sentenced to up to 5 years in prison with a minimum of 19 months. We have talked about every crime imaginable on True Crime Cast, and we have argued about how much justice should a sentence, or how long should a sentence be to be actual justice. I don't know the number here of stalking a minor via text. As an adult, I know if it was sexual in nature, which it was, like you could say this was a sex crime and she should be put on a registry, but that wasn't part of the situation. 5 years max, which she's not going to serve, 19 months minimum. Let's say she's not her mom. Are you satisfied with that? Let's say she's just
that's
another
a good
lady.
question. So, like, yeah, if you were doing this to my kids, I would want you to spend more than 19 months in prison. I mean, to be fair, though, I don't think it's horribly inadequate. But yeah. I feel like I would want it to be a really hard 2 years for you.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm actually fine with this sentence as
2
far as
years.
The quantity.
If I know that there's going to be people making your life a nightmare, right, then I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So let me pick the prison, and we can go into.
Yeah. Let me make some agreements with some of the inmates there.
Does her being her mom make it to where she should have more or less time, or does it change it at all?
That's also a good question. And my gut wants to say it needs to be more. She needs to serve more of the 5 years than 19 months, because never okay to do this, but to do this to your baby, that's sick, man. And you need more time.
Yeah. I mean, you are a social worker and they have legal responsibilities to care for and provide for and not neglect and not abuse their kids. So I do think this is above and beyond the crime itself to do this to a child who is completely under your authority.
Can I also, I would assume that all parties involved had to agree to do this documentary, right?
Yeah. But we heard from a lot of the other kids, their parents. We heard from Jill, who we talked about earlier, Owen's mom. Yeah, we hear from Lauryn quite a bit. And a lot of it is Kendra, which is what flips it anyway.
I would hope that Kendra didn't make a dime off the documentary. I don't think I could let that become, it's going to become public in our region, but it's not going to be a Netflix documentary.
Right.
So I feel like, how is this going to affect Lauryn in 20 years when her kids and her grandkids have access to watch this? I don't think that we as a society have really figured out that making these documentaries, while they're entertaining, probably not the best idea for the victims.
Yeah, I completely agree. For the victims, for other people, because there are people who try to take advantage of the attention they're getting and turn it into an extra buck. Some people will take what they are dealing with in their own lives and blame it on this. Like, this opens up a can of worms that I don't think we're ready to handle. So I think that's a very good point. At her sentencing, the judge told Kendra that the case showed him this quote, worst in human nature. I can't imagine any parent saying such horrible things to her own daughter. Kendra was released on parole on August 8th of 2024. So she served right at that 19-month minimum. As a parolee, she was mandated to be supervised until February 2026. As part of her supervised release, she couldn't leave the state of Michigan, and she must make earnest efforts to find and keep a job.
I would think that not having a cell phone would be part of her release. Like,
Right.
You have not deemed yourself worthy to have this device. Find a job, work, and live like it's 1985.
Right. Yep. Walk to work at a job that is physical, not necessarily manual labor, but it's physical. You can't work from home. We're not remoting in this scenario. And yeah, I completely agree. I don't know exactly how you would track that or limit that, but I think you have to put something in place. As part of the plea, she's also not allowed to see her daughter, though she wants to still be a part of Lauren's life. At one point, Lauren said that she would like to see her mom when the time is right. And you mentioned her, she didn't seem as angry as expected. And the documentary is made several years later, right? But she did seem so compassionate. She said, I hope me and my mom can rebuild our relationship because I feel like I'm definitely missing part of me. Now that she's out of prison, I just want her to get the help that she needs. So then when we see each other, it doesn't go back to the old ways and how it was before.
This woman doesn't deserve Lauren. Like, Lauren is an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah. Great human, great approach. So much more compassion than I expected I would have in this scenario. And definitely wants a relationship with her mother eventually. And even, I know she's not a little kid, but even as a late teenager, early 20s, to have that idea of, because most kids are either like, I want this thing now or I don't want it at all. For her to say, when the time is right, is very mature.
Yeah, I think she's got a pretty good head on her shoulders despite being raised by a monster. Sean
Amen.
must be doing a good job.
Yeah.
There are several theories that people have on why Kendra sent these messages to begin with to her daughter and the other teens. Jill, who is Owen's mom, believes that Kendra was obsessed with her son. Owen claims, this is again Lauren's boyfriend, the teenager. Owen claims that Kendra would cut up his steak into bite-sized pieces for him when he was dating Lauren. That's something that you do for a kid who's, say, 5, 6 years old, but not a teenager.
Nope.
She also frequently checked in on him one-on-one. That's odd. I can say that my mother-in-law has never done this.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, she's checked on me, but it's never been one-on-one. Kendra also went to Owen's sporting events even after he and Lauren broke up. And I think, again, that's pretty odd. The school superintendent believed the texts were a form of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. They said, quote, she wanted her daughter to need her in such a way that she was telling or willing to hurt her. And this is the way that she chose to do that versus physically trying to make her ill, which is typical Munchausen behavior, end quote. Today, there is a term going around called Munchausen by internet. However, Dr. Andrea Geidenhagen, associate professor for the Department of Psychiatry at Washington University in St. Louis School of Medicine, says, quote, Munchausen by internet could look like a parent going online and falsely claiming that their child has cancer. It differs from Munchausen by proxy since no physical harm is inflicted on the child, but it still results in an emotional reward for the caretaker when people express sympathy and offer help, end quote. So she says that this is challenging to identify because you have to either witness a person making themselves or their child sick, or they have to admit to it directly. And honestly, Jamie, I mean, I can speculate, but I have no idea what would cause this woman to do that. At first, my first thought when I was watching this and trying to figure out why she would do it was, what, did she not like Owen and thought that Owen was not good for her daughter and she was trying to break them up? But it went so much further than that could explain. So I really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we have the who and the how and the what, but we don't have the why. And even Kendra says she doesn't know why she did what she did. There's a particularly infuriating part of the documentary. Again, it builds up and really hides the fact that it was Kendra well until the big reveal. But there gets to a point where she says, realistically, a lot of us probably have broken the law at some point or another and have not gotten caught. I'm sure people drove drunk and haven't been caught, end quote. A lot of times for parole, they ask people to show remorse or to give a crap about the law they broke or the people they hurt. Not seeing this from Kendra right here, John. She seems completely, I don't know, out of touch with the reality of humanity in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at her and tell that she's not 100%.
Yeah, she seems to not care why she did it. She makes excuses. She called it an escape, and she claimed that she told Lauryn to kill herself, but she never really thought Lauryn would actually hurt herself, or she wouldn't have said it. She only said it because she was so confident that Lauryn would not take her up on it, which is a risk as a parent, as a human, that I'm not willing to take. She also wonders if she was sending these to Lauryn to try to help with her insecurities, but they were actually really about Kendra's issues and Kendra's insecurities. This had nothing to do with Lauryn. She was simply a victim here and a victim of a horrible crime. Kendra has never answered for the vulgar and vile things she said. Again, we don't do a lot of that here on True Crime Cast, so we haven't gone into, but I can't tell you how graphic these things are. Words I would never say were sent to her daughter. The documentary director went on to say that this is confusing for him as well. He said, Kendra's a little bit of an enigma. I think that she had a lot of time to think about what she did. She was in therapy when she was incarcerated, and I believe that she's still seeing a therapist. She has put thought into what she did. I don't know that she's fully realized or recognized what it was that she did or why she did it. I guess only Kendra could really answer that, end quote.
Lauryn's dad has gained full custody of Lauryn, and the two have seemingly grown really close together. Lauryn said that we just bond so well together, and everything we do, we can find a way to laugh. And I love that perspective from her. Lauryn graduated from high school in 2025. She planned on going to college. She told Netflix that she was ready to enter the next phase of her life. She and Owen no longer speak to each other. And while she loves her mother, again, she said that it will be a challenge to trust her again. And again, she thinks that right now she isn't able to trust her, and hopefully there will be a time when the time will be right and they can work things out. But she doesn't want to go back to those old ways of how things were. The director of the Netflix documentary noted that Lauryn, quote, got the most complicated feelings to deal with, and everybody else can hate Kendra, but I don't think Lauryn can, right? It's your mom. I mean, how do you navigate that? It's really uncharted waters, end quote. And he's absolutely right. This is devastating for a mom to have done this to her kid. And as the kid, how do you respond? I mean, I see it all the time. Even in the most awful abuse cases, kids typically will still love their parents. And to an outsider, it's baffling. But for the kid, that's their whole world. So I hope Lauryn and her mom can work things out. I truly hope Kendra can figure out what makes her this vile and evil on the inside and get that figured out so that she can eventually have a daughter with Lauryn, who's a great kid despite your worst efforts.
Right. You talk about somebody being awesome in spite of their upbringing. That seems to be Lauryn. Again, no fault to Sean here. And everybody's relationship is very different. I apparently just communicate with my wife a lot. I don't know that she would have time to get away with something like this, nor would I. So I guess that is what it is. But he did nothing here to his daughter, and it seems like he's done a good job helping her adjust and helping her heal from this. Kids
are verbally abused every day, so this is something that is not happening in a vacuum. But I honestly cannot imagine. I may say things that are unintentionally hurtful to my children. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that when I've been upset, I've probably said something that they viewed as negative, but I've never like verbally attacked them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I may have hurt their feelings because they didn't like, you're grounded for a week.
Right.
But ultimately I'm doing what I think is best for them. I can't imagine hurting them and saying these awful things.
There is no world where this is best or good for Lauryn. No world.
I feel so sorry for her. My prayers honestly go out to her and that she can heal and forgive. And I think that it sounds like she's on the right path to do that.
Again, if you want to go and see the individuals involved in the story, that is Unknown Number, the High School Catfish on Netflix. And like I said, this kind of started a little run there. We had this one, and then we had The Crash, which John was very upset to find out it wasn't about Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
And then more recently, the individual in Texas that stole the baby. So
Stole a baby? I've not seen this one. I need you to send me that one privately on our text message. That'd be great.
I mean, it's called Maternal Instincts.
Oh.
And it's like each of these villains gets worse and worse.
I've often thought that maybe there are parents out there looking for me. But,
that's a good question.
But yeah, we'll see.
A lot of people hate you. I'm just kidding. No.
Wow. And that's how you should do it. Instead of texting me that from a phone number I don't recognize, tell me that to my face,
Okay.
I respect you more for that.
I like that. Guys, we really appreciate you sticking with us through the story. And you may have seen the documentary, just wanted other people's take on it. I know it's something that if I watch it, I have to have somebody talk to about it immediately. That's kind of why we started a podcast, John. And
it absolutely is. And I think you recommended the documentary to me, and I think we texted in real time as I watched it.
Yeah. Because don't give it away if you haven't seen it and you want to tell somebody else to watch it. Or if you have seen it and you're recommending it, don't give it away. Let them find out how awful Kendra is all on their own.
I'm wondering if my daughter's too young to watch this because I kind of want to see her reaction to it.
If we could somehow filter out the graphic stuff, I think you'd be gold.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll try to figure it out.
Guys, legitimately, I appreciate each and every one of you all listening. Please take a moment to leave us a rating and a review. We would really appreciate it.
So happy to be back and can't wait to come back next week with another case.
Go check out Patreon. And until next crime, this has been True Crime Cast.
You've listened to True Crime Cast, distributed by Stoveleg Media. Check out stoveleg.com to find out more about your hosts and to find other podcasts to listen to. Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.